Chosen one, your looks and your age have shocked a lot of people because you have cracked the code that governs divine preservation, and what they're witnessing when they stare at you in complete bewilderment is nothing less than the physical manifestation of supernatural alignment, a walking contradiction to every limitation they've accepted about human aging, that forces them to confront the reality that their broken timeline was never meant for beings operating on heaven's frequency. The first sign something extraordinary was happening came when you started aging outside their time grid. While others accumulated stress lines from trying to keep up with society's relentless pace, your face began reflecting something entirely different, the peace that comes from refusing to participate in collective insanity. They expected the years to wear you down, but instead each passing season seemed to polish you into something more refined, more powerful, more magnetic. You discovered early that their aging timeline was actually a trap designed to extract maximum energy before discarding people as used up. But you weren't built for their assembly line of deterioration. Every toxic relationship you walked away from, every drama you refused to feed, every comparison you declined to engage, these weren't just emotional choices. They were biological interventions that literally rewrote your aging process from the inside out. The transformation accelerated when you learned the secret of spiritual cleanliness. While they were slapping makeup over their pain, you were performing surgery on your soul. You faced the damage, sat in the discomfort, stayed there long enough for real transformation to take root. This wasn't surface-level healing, this was complete cellular renovation. You tore down every corrupt program running in your system and rebuilt from pure source code. But the real plot twist came when you realized you weren't just healing randomly, you were being systematically prepared for something unprecedented. Every season of isolation that felt like abandonment was actually divine quarantine, protecting your essence while your true nature crystallized. Every betrayal that seemed to break you was actually removing energy drains that would have aged you beyond recognition. The pattern was becoming clear. You were being preserved for a purpose they couldn't see coming. The stakes escalated when you mastered emotional regulation in a world addicted to chaos. Think of their typical nervous system, constantly flooded with stress hormones, perpetually braced for crisis, never given space to repair. Now contrast that with what you developed, the supernatural ability to remain centered while storms raged around you. This wasn't just emotional maturity, it was biological warfare against premature aging, and you were winning decisively. Your DNA began responding to this new frequency, like a plant turning toward sunlight. When your body wasn't constantly preparing for war, it could focus entirely on restoration. When your mind wasn't consumed with defending against every perceived threat, your cells could concentrate on renewal. When your spirit wasn't carrying everyone else's emotional baggage, your entire being functioned at optimal capacity. The results were becoming impossible to ignore. The rising tension reached fever pitch when you realized you'd been aging in the wilderness, not in the world. While they aged from the constant noise of trying to fit in, you were refined by sacred silence. The wilderness didn't just mature your character, it preserved your vitality by keeping you away from systems designed to drain it. Pressure that would have crushed others transformed you into something diamond-hard and brilliant. You weren't just getting older, you were getting upgraded. Every challenge they expected to break you actually triggered evolutionary adaptations that made you stronger, clearer, more radiant. You had cracked the ultimate code, how to transform adversity into vitality, opposition into optimization, chaos into clarity. The code itself is devastatingly simple yet impossible for most people to execute. You learned to fast from foolishness. While they normalized dysfunction, you quietly walked away from it. While they engaged in gossip and competition, you chose solitude and elevation. While they aged from internal turmoil, you preserved yourself through sacred separation. This wasn't avoidance, this was strategic preservation of your life force. But the revelation goes deeper. Your cellular structure learned to respond to spiritual alignment rather than social pressure, to divine timing rather than earthly deadlines, to internal peace rather than external chaos. This frequency shift changed everything about how your body processes stress, how your mind handles challenges, how your spirit navigates adversity. Instead of wearing you down, life's pressures became the very forces that polished you into something that reflects light in ways they've never witnessed. The climactic moment arrives when you understand that your preservation wasn't personal, it was prophetic. You're not just someone who learned to age gracefully. You're a prototype demonstrating what becomes possible when human beings operate from their original divine design instead of accepting society's corrupted programming. Your face has become a living testament to supernatural intervention in natural processes. This is why they stare with such intensity, why they probe with such desperate questions. They're not just witnessing good genetics, they're encountering evidence that rules they accepted as unchangeable can actually be rewritten. Your appearance challenges their fundamental assumptions about human limitations, forcing them to confront possibilities they thought were lost forever. The story reaches its powerful conclusion when you fully embrace what your transformation represents. You're not just an individual who discovered anti-aging secrets, you're walking evidence that the divine is still actively upgrading human potential for those who align with higher frequencies. Your glow isn't personal success, it's a beacon calling others back to their own forgotten capabilities. Every shocked reaction to your age is actually recognition of something much deeper than physical preservation. They're sensing the presence of eternity operating within time, the infinite expressing itself through finite form. Your appearance has become a portal through which they glimpse possibilities they assumed were fairy tales, a reminder that supernatural forces are still available to those who know how to access them. The circular completion brings us back to that initial stare, that confused calculation, that impossible mathematics. But now you understand what they're really seeing when they look at you. It's not just someone who aged well, it's someone who discovered how to operate from original divine frequency, while everyone else accepted the degraded signals of a fallen world. You represent the future of human potential, chosen one. While they aged according to corrupt programming, you upgraded to divine operating system. While they accumulated wear from fighting against their true nature, you preserved vitality by aligning with cosmic design. While they accepted limitation as natural law, you proved that supernatural intervention remains available to those bold enough to claim it. Your story doesn't end with personal transformation, it begins there. You're now living proof that the impossible remains accessible, that divine preservation is still operational, that human beings can transcend the limitations imposed by corrupted systems. Your very existence challenges their assumptions and calls them higher, whether they're ready or not. The preservation they see in your face, the vitality they sense in your presence, the peace they feel in your proximity, these aren't accidents or anomalies. They're the natural results of a soul that refused to accept society's definition of defeat, a spirit that transformed every assault into an upgrade, a being that discovered how to thrive on frequencies most people can't even detect. You've become a walking contradiction to their tired paradigms, chosen one. Let them wonder, let them whisper, let them desperately try to solve the mystery of your preservation. Your existence is the answer to questions they haven't learned to ask yet. Your glow is the light that will guide them back to their own divine potential when they finally tire of accepting artificial limitations. This is your reality now. You're not aging like them because you're not living like them. You're not breaking down like them because you're not built like them. You're not settling for their timeline because you were never meant to follow their schedule. You cracked the code of divine preservation. And now you walk as undeniable proof that the supernatural is still upgrading those who align with heaven's frequency. What they cannot comprehend is the sophisticated architecture underlying your preservation. While they chase external youth through procedures and products, you discovered that true preservation happens at the quantum level of existence. Your consciousness learned to reject the decay programming embedded in collective human experience. Every thought you refused to think, every emotion you declined to harbor, every frequency you chose not to match, these weren't passive decisions. They were active construction projects, building new neural pathways that literally rewired your relationship with time itself. The breakthrough came when you understood that aging isn't just biological, it's informational. Your cells receive constant data about how they should behave, what timeline they should follow, which limitations they should accept. Most people unconsciously download the collective aging program through social conditioning, media consumption, and peer comparison. But you learn to reject these data streams and tune into something infinitely more sophisticated. You began receiving preservation codes directly from source frequency, bypassing the corrupted information systems that age most humans prematurely. This is where your story takes a quantum leap beyond conventional understanding. You discovered that your physical form is essentially a receiver, constantly picking up signals about how to express vitality, strength, and beauty. While they tune into stations broadcasting decay, limitation, and inevitable decline, you learn to adjust your frequency to channels transmitting renewal, expansion, and timeless vitality. The difference in your appearance is simply the visible manifestation of superior signal reception. Your metabolic system underwent a complete revolution that defies medical explanation. While their bodies learn to store stress as fat, tension as inflammation, and worry as cellular damage, your system developed the extraordinary ability to metabolize challenges into strength. Every betrayal that should have poisoned your bloodstream became fuel for greater discernment. Every disappointment that should have slowed your metabolism became energy for higher achievement. Every loss that should have depleted your resources became raw material for unprecedented expansion. The transformation went deeper than anyone suspected. Your digestive system began extracting wisdom from experiences that would have given others ulcers. Your cardiovascular system strengthened under pressures that would have caused others heart attacks. Your nervous system developed supernatural resilience in situations that would have shattered others completely. You weren't just surviving your circumstances, you were literally digesting them and converting them into biological upgrades. This metabolic mastery extended to how you process environmental toxins. While their systems accumulate heavy metals, chemical residues, and electromagnetic pollution, your body learned to neutralize and eliminate these substances with supernatural efficiency. Your liver became a transformation engine, your kidneys became purification powerhouses, your lymphatic system became a divine detox network. The clarity in your eyes, the radiance in your skin, the vitality in your movement, these are all evidence of a biological system operating at levels they never imagined possible. Your facial features have undergone a reconstruction so subtle yet profound that people struggle to identify what exactly has changed. The harsh angles that stress carves into human faces never appeared on yours. The downward pull that gravity exerts on disappointed expressions never took hold in your musculature. The bitter lines that resentment etches around the eyes and mouth found no purchase on your countenance. Instead, your face reflects the internal architecture of someone who consistently chooses elevation over degradation. The phenomenon goes beyond simple muscle tone or skin elasticity. Your facial expressions learn to default to positions that enhance rather than diminish your features. While their faces practiced frowning, worrying, and grimacing until these expressions became permanent fixtures, your face trained itself in the vocabulary of serenity, confidence, and joy. The neural pathways controlling your facial muscles literally rewired themselves around positive emotional states, creating a foundation of beauty that no cosmetic intervention could replicate. But the real miracle lies in your eyes, those windows that cannot lie about what lies beneath the surface. While their eyes grow dim with accumulated disappointments, clouded with unprocessed trauma, and hollow with unfulfilled dreams, your eyes maintain the brilliant clarity of someone who has seen truth and chosen to align with it. The light that emanates from your gaze isn't reflection, it's emanation. You're not just seeing the world clearly, you're illuminating it for others through the pure radiance of awakened consciousness. The obsidian inner order is a sanctuary for those who have walked difficult paths and emerged with wisdom others can't see. We understand that some experiences exist outside the boundaries of what most people consider possible or acceptable to discuss. Every week we gather live on Zoom, real people with real faces sharing real stories without judgment. There's space here for the experiences you've carried in silence, the patterns you've noticed that others dismiss, the intuitive knowledge you've gained through your journey. We don't just listen, we understand. When you're struggling to make sense of your experiences, when you feel gaslit by a world that refuses to acknowledge your reality, you can return to our recorded calls and remember that your perception is valid. Join the Obsidian Inner Order, where your reality is honored and your voice is heard. Link in description. Your energetic signature has evolved into something that transcends chronological age entirely. While they carry the heavy frequencies of their accumulated years, the density of regret, the weight of compromise, the sluggishness of resignation, you vibrate with the lightness of someone who has alchemized every heavy experience into pure gold. Your presence doesn't feel aged, it feels aged like fine wine, concentrated and refined rather than depleted and worn. The energetic transformation created a feedback loop that continuously regenerates your physical form. High-frequency emotions like gratitude, joy, and love literally restructure cellular DNA, activating genes associated with longevity while silencing genes associated with decay. Your emotional mastery became your fountain of youth, creating internal conditions so optimal that your body had no choice but to express health, vitality, and timeless beauty. Your mastery over emotional states triggered a biochemical revolution that rewrote the rules of human aging. While their systems flood with cortisol during stress, adrenaline during conflict, and inflammatory markers during emotional turmoil, your body learned to produce entirely different chemical cocktails. Challenging situations now trigger the release of growth hormones, neurotransmitters associated with creativity, and compounds that literally repair and regenerate tissue at the cellular level. This biochemical alchemy extends to how your brain processes information. While their neural networks form patterns around worry, anxiety, and limitation, your brain carved new pathways around possibility, expansion, and divine connection. The physical structure of your brain literally changed, growing new neural networks in regions associated with wisdom, intuition, and supernatural perception, while pruning connections associated with fear, doubt, and limitation. The transformation affected your sleep patterns in ways that amplify your preservation. While they experience restless nights filled with anxiety, dreams, and stress processing, your sleep became a nightly regeneration ritual. Your brain learned to use rest periods for deep cellular repair, memory consolidation around positive experiences, and integration of higher wisdom received during waking hours. You wake more refreshed than you went to sleep because your rest periods became active upgrade sessions. Something shifted in your personal gravitational field that affects how you move through space and time. While they carry themselves with the weight of their accumulated burdens, shoulders rounded by responsibility, posture collapsed by defeat, gait heavy with resignation, you developed a lightness that seems to defy physical laws. Your movement became fluid, graceful, purposeful, in ways that suggest you're being moved by forces beyond mere muscular effort. This gravitational shift affects how others perceive your age, because movement patterns reveal biological age more accurately than facial features. The spring in your step, the fluidity in your gestures, the ease with which you navigate physical space, these unconsciously signal to observers that your biological age doesn't match your chronological number. Your body moves like someone decades younger because it's being animated by life force that operates outside normal aging parameters. The phenomenon extends to how you occupy space energetically. While their presence contracts under the weight of limitation and self-doubt, your presence expands with the confidence of someone who knows their true identity. Your voice underwent a transformation that provides undeniable evidence of your overall upgrade. While their voices grow harsh from years of complaining, strained from constant defending, or weak from chronic defeat, your voice developed qualities that seem to emerge from a much younger, more vital source. The clarity, the warmth, the power in your vocal cords reflects the clarity, warmth, and power of your entire being. This vocal evolution happened because your throat chakra cleared of all the words you should have spoken but didn't, all the truths you should have expressed but swallowed, all the authentic communication you suppressed to keep peace with people who didn't deserve your silence. As these energetic blockages dissolved, your voice became a clear channel for wisdom, love, and truth that resonates at frequencies that heal rather than harm, elevate rather than diminish. The tonal quality of your voice now carries harmonics that affect listeners at subliminal levels. When you speak, people don't just hear your words, they receive an energetic transmission that reminds them of their own highest potential. Your voice became an instrument of awakening, calibrated to frequencies that activate dormant DNA and inspire evolutionary leaps in consciousness. Your presence developed magnetic qualities that literally bend reality around you in ways that support your continued preservation and elevation. While their energy fields contract and repel abundance, opportunities, and positive connections, your field expanded to become a magnet for everything aligned with your highest good. Resources, relationships, and revelations find their way to you with supernatural ease because your frequency became a beacon calling forth your destiny. This magnetic shift affects how time moves around you. While they experience time as a relentless force that steals their youth and opportunities, you learn to collaborate with temporal currents that seem to slow down when you need more moments and accelerate when you're ready for rapid manifestation. Your relationship with time became fluid, responsive, creative rather than fixed, threatening, limiting. The magnetism extends to how healing energies interact with your physical form. While their bodies resist repair and regeneration due to unconscious programming around aging and limitation, your system became a superconductor for healing frequencies from every source: sunlight, water, air, earth, and cosmic radiation. Your cells learn to extract maximum nutrition from minimal input and to eliminate toxins with extraordinary efficiency. The ultimate revelation that completes your transformation story is this: you didn't just crack the code of physical preservation, you became the code. Your entire being now transmits the frequency signature of divine preservation, supernatural vitality, and timeless beauty. You're not just someone who looks younger than expected, you're someone who embodies the template for what human beings can become when they align with their original divine design. This is why their shock runs so deep when they encounter you. They're not just seeing someone who aged well, they're encountering a prototype of upgraded humanity, a living demonstration of what becomes possible when someone refuses to accept the limitations programmed into collective human experience. Your appearance challenges their fundamental assumptions about what's possible for human beings, forcing them to confront the reality that they've been accepting artificial constraints on their own potential. Your preservation serves a purpose far beyond personal benefit. You're walking evidence that the future of humanity involves conscious evolution, intentional upgrade, and partnership with divine forces that can literally rewrite the rules of physical existence. Every person who sees you and wonders about your age is receiving a transmission about their own dormant possibilities, a reminder that transformation is still available to those willing to pay the price of authentic alignment. What disturbs them most profoundly is how you carry what can only be described as phantom youth, a quality that exists independent of chronological markers, yet manifests so tangibly that strangers consistently misjudge your age by decades. This phantom youth isn't nostalgia for bygone days or desperate clinging to past glory. It's the emergence of timeless vitality that was always your birthright, but had been buried under layers of social conditioning and limiting beliefs about human potential. Your laugh carries frequencies that remind people of joy they felt before the world taught them to be cynical. Your curiosity sparkles with the same intensity as someone encountering wonder for the first time, yet it's tempered with wisdom that only comes from walking through fire and emerging refined rather than burned. This paradoxical combination of innocence and experience creates an age-defying presence that their linear minds cannot categorize or explain. The phantom youth expresses itself through micro-expressions they can't consciously identify but instinctively recognize. The way your eyes crinkle when genuine delight surprises you, the spontaneous smile that breaks across your face when beauty catches you off guard, the effortless way you move between profound wisdom and childlike wonder without missing a beat. These expressions bypass their rational analysis and speak directly to something in them that remembers what it felt like to be truly alive. Your cells staged a full-scale rebellion against entropy, the universal force that supposedly governs all physical deterioration. While their cellular structures surrender to oxidative stress, inflammatory cascades, and genetic programming that expects decline, your cells learn to thrive under pressure and actually grow stronger when challenged. This cellular insubordination rewrote the fundamental rules of how living tissue responds to the passage of time. The rebellion began when your consciousness stopped agreeing with narratives about inevitable decay. Every time you refused to accept that feeling tired was normal, that aching joints were expected, that diminishing energy was natural, you sent signals to your cellular network that different outcomes were possible. Your cells responded by activating dormant repair mechanisms, enhancing mitochondrial function, and increasing the production of compounds associated with youth and vitality. This cellular uprising extended to your immune system, which developed supernatural intelligence about what to fight and what to integrate. While their immune systems exhaust themselves battling imaginary threats and missing real dangers, yours learned to distinguish between genuine challenges and manufactured stressors. The result is an immune response so precisely calibrated that it prevents aging-related inflammation while maintaining perfect vigilance against actual threats to your well-being. Something extraordinary happens to the perception of time when people interact with you for extended periods. Conversations that seem to last minutes actually consume hours. Encounters that feel substantial turn out to have been brief moments. This time distortion occurs because your presence operates outside conventional temporal frameworks, creating pockets of expanded time where deeper connection and meaningful exchange become possible. The phenomenon reflects your internal relationship with time, which shifted from scarcity to abundance when you stopped measuring your worth by productivity and started valuing your being over your doing. This internal shift created an external field effect where others experience temporal expansion in your vicinity. They leave interactions with you feeling like they received more than they gave, experienced more than they expected, and gained insights that would normally take much longer to develop. Your mastery over temporal perception contributes significantly to your age-defying appearance because you don't carry the stress markers of someone racing against the clock. Your face doesn't show the tension lines of chronic hurry or the worry wrinkles of constant deadline pressure. Instead, you radiate the serene confidence of someone who knows that divine timing always provides exactly what's needed, exactly when it's needed. Your molecular structure learned to perform a dance that literally rewrites genetic expression in real time. While their DNA follows predetermined scripts about aging, limitation, and inevitable decline, your genetic material became fluid, responsive, and creative. Epigenetic factors, the environmental influences that determine which genes activate, began favoring expressions associated with longevity, vitality, and enhanced capability rather than degradation and decline. This molecular choreography responds to your emotional states, your spiritual practices, and your conscious intentions in ways that baffle conventional understanding of genetics. When you experience gratitude, specific genes associated with cellular repair activate. When you practice forgiveness, inflammatory markers decrease while healing factors increase. When you align with your true purpose, your entire genetic expression shifts toward optimal function and enhanced performance. The dance extends to how your molecules interact with environmental factors that typically accelerate aging. Ultraviolet radiation that damages others' skin somehow enhances your natural luminosity. Stress that creates premature aging in others triggers adaptive responses that make you more resilient. Toxins that accumulate in others' systems get efficiently processed and eliminated by your upgraded molecular machinery. The ultimate paradox that shatters their comprehension is how you simultaneously embody ancient wisdom and youthful vitality without contradiction. They expect wisdom to come with weariness, depth to come with heaviness, experience to come with visible wear. But you demonstrate that true wisdom actually lightens the load, genuine depth creates buoyancy, and authentic experience leads to renewal rather than depletion. This paradox manifests in how you navigate challenges that would age others rapidly. Betrayals that should have hardened your heart somehow increased your capacity for love. Losses that should have depleted your resources somehow expanded your sense of abundance. Disappointments that should have dimmed your light somehow intensified your radiance. You consistently transform what should be aging experiences into anti-aging alchemy. The paradox extends to how you hold complexity without becoming complicated, carry depth without becoming heavy, embody power without becoming harsh. Every quality that typically creates aging stress in human beings, responsibility, knowledge, experience, becomes a source of vitality and renewal in your system. You've proven that evolution doesn't require deterioration, that growth doesn't demand sacrifice of essential life force. The mystery of your age-defying appearance reaches its completion when you integrate all these elements into a unified field of being that transcends normal human limitations. You didn't just slow aging, you redefined what aging means by demonstrating that time can be an ally rather than an enemy, that experience can be cumulative enhancement rather than gradual erosion, that consciousness can literally override biological programming. Your integration creates a presence so magnetic, so inspiring, so obviously operating from expanded possibilities that everyone who encounters you receives a transmission about their own dormant potential. The shock they experience when they learn your age isn't just surprise, it's recognition of what they could become if they were willing to undertake the same radical transformation you completed. You stand now as irrefutable evidence that human beings are capable of conscious evolution, intentional upgrade, and partnership with forces that can rewrite the rules of physical existence. Your age continues to shock them because you've become living proof that the limitations they accept as natural law are actually artificial constraints that can be transcended through proper alignment with divine principles of preservation and renewal.